What's going on, everybody? The Original Mako back with some more Gunfire Reborn content, and today, finally, we have the new tips and tricks video for the new hero. I have tips and tricks videos for all the other heroes, so it was only a matter of time until we got this one out there. I'm excited. I think these are the tips that can help you use the character to its highest potential. Now, before you start yelling in the comments, I understand there's a lot of different ways you can use all these different characters. These are just tips and tricks to help you get started with a new character. If you haven't played with him yet, you haven't unlocked him yet, just things you should do on your first few runs to kind of get the feel for him, and maybe some things that you might not have thought about that you'll now think about. That being said, until I hit 1,000 subs, that's the only thing I'm going to plug is subscribe to the channel. A ton of good content coming to you guys from Gunfire Reborn. Just check it out. Just hit that subscribe button. It takes like 2 seconds. Like 75% of you guys aren't subbed. Just smack that button and let's push this last 200 till we get to 1,000 subs, and let's just nail it. All right? Let's just nail it, guys. But seriously, the support's been unreal. You guys are amazing. But let's go ahead and just hop in to this tips and tricks video for the new hero. Leilu. Somebody in the comments, please tell me how to pronounce this, because I really don't know. So we're going to start with an honorable mention. And that honorable mention, I just had to put in here because this run was stupid when I did it. It's on my channel if you want to see it. But if you find a weapon with auto crit, the auto crit inscription, not ascension, please pick it up and please get lightning from the void. So your weapon's going to be automatically critting, assuming you can kill enough enemies quick enough. And every time you crit, this has a chance to trigger once per second at most, so you're probably going to be triggering this once every second. It's so much fun and so dumb and so good, but it's a lot of fun to do at least once, so I highly recommend everybody trying to do that at least one time. That being said, let's go on to the actual tips and tricks. We've got 5 of them, just like all the other videos, so we're going to start at the bottom with number 5. Something that's pretty important that you might not think about right away, but it is a pretty important thing to realize. This character is the fastest. If we look, he's got 6 movement speed. Bird's got 5.5. Cat's got 5. Dog's got 5.2. So he's the fastest character. But that being said, when you hit your E, activate the electric current hidden under his tattoos to increase the movement speed by 30% and skill damage by 50% for 6 seconds. The important part I'm going to talk about for tip 5 is the movement speed 30% buff. This can very easily, just as I believe I had a tip where the bird, where his E, the leap, can be an escape mechanism. This guy's E can also be an escape mechanism. The biggest times I can see it coming in handy if you run into an immortal lantern in stage 3 or an immortal bomber in stage 1, rogue arsonists, or not stage 3 and stage 1, the duo fjord and the longling tomb, and then in the angsty desert, if you run into like rogue arsonists that are a little too close, pop your E, get out of dodge. Obviously, the E is good for a lot of other things, and you might not have it up all the time, but if you have good cooldown on it, you can definitely afford, instead of using this offensively, to use it defensively as a way to get out of immediate danger. So 30% movement speed is no joke. Definitely something you can use here to keep yourself, especially on top of the fact he's already the fastest character, you can definitely get out of danger pretty quick. You know, it doesn't take long to pop your E and get out of that bad situation you're in. Plus, it lasts 6 seconds, and that's a long time. Should give you time to set yourself up for the next thing. The next big part also has to do with his attributes here. As you can see, let's just go through. The dog has 155 health and 55 shield. So I'm just going to start totaling these. So we have 210 here. We have 210 here. We have 230 here. And we have 160 with his health and shield combined. So he is very squishy. Very squishy. He has more than, 230, not quite, but he has almost 100 less total stats than the bird, right? That is unbelievably squishy. So one of the most important things you can do with this character is make sure you've got your target priority down. When you come into a room, I know a lot of you probably haven't played as much as me, so when I go into a room, I know basically what enemies are going to spawn in that room. So I can start thinking, okay, I need to kill this first, and then this is going to be my next thing, and then this. When you go into a room, try to assess the situation as quick as you can. Say, what's in here? You know, if there's stuff that's going to be sprinting at me, I need to obviously deal with that first. But then start thinking, okay, I need to kill the best time I use this is in the desert. I need to be killing, you know, the bandit retainers first, and then focus on arsonists, and then move on to any of the other stuff. But try to figure out what is causing. If you can't seem to win with this character, or you can't seem to break it, or you're just playing it for the first time, just know you're weak. So you need to make sure that you're taking out the biggest threats first. And obviously some of the biggest threats for this guy are things that get in close range, or things that can do a lot of damage very quickly, like a rogue arsonist or bandit retainer. Either of those can hit like a truck. So target priority is very important on a character that's this squishy. Next, the next thing here is we're going to talk about his Q and his E. So the next big part of his E here is skill damage by 50% increase. Shooting and hitting an enemy will end the bonus state and convert the shot to a thunder strike, which deals 200% extra damage, and summons a 1200 lightning damage thunder after the hit. So this skill damage for 50% is pretty important. I really think the best way to play this character, or one of the better ways to play it, is to use your E and let that timer tick down. Wait to shoot your massive extra damage shot until 5 seconds have passed. And while you're waiting for that, just spam your chain lightning. Because one of the big things here is when the shield is broken, if you have this unlocked, obviously, when the shield is broken, you restore 50% number of uses of your secondary skill. Chances are, with 85 shield, your shield's going to break a lot. So you're going to be getting a lot of your secondary skill back. So when you use your E, you get that extra skill damage. Go ahead and just use that chain lightning a few times. Get some damage in, and then if there's still an enemy that has a ton of health left, use your one shot to hit him, deal that extra damage, and then wait for your E to be reset. I don't think unless you're like doing a boss, or you know, you just need damage now, like this thing is going to kill me if I don't kill it immediately, like a lobster in the Duo Fjord, then okay, pop your E, get the shot off, and just try to stabilize. But using it to cause, not to mention, if we just look at the Ascensions here, we have things like, if I can find, what is it, Bolt from the Blue, offers additional 50% skill damage during your Fatal Current. And every time you trigger a shock, you do Thunder Strike. We have Lightning Governor, where during your Fatal Current, it'll automatically chain lightning for you. So there's a lot of ways that you waiting to use that shot can help you. You're going to get even more skill damage, more Thunder Strike. You're going to get even more chain lightnings out than the ones that you're using. So let your ability work for you, right? Just let it do its thing. Lightning Governor is, I think, one of the best Ascensions on this character. I'm probably going to make a video about that at some point. But if you have Lightning Governor especially, just let that time run down and then use your shot at the last second. That being said, that is... so combo your Q and E, essentially, is the bulk of that statement. The number 2 tip I have, and these first two are probably obvious, but they're ones I need to emphasize and kind of explain like why it's so important. Number 2 is to keep your distance from enemies. This is going to tie in... I'll explain it more with the number 1 tip because it's going to tie in more with that, but you definitely on this character want to keep your distance, not only because of the fact that he's got 160 total stats here, which is just unbelievably low, so you don't want enemies hitting you very often. And the ones that tend to get close tend to do a lot of damage, so just try to keep your distance for that reason. Another big reason is Shadow Knight, 30% weapon damage and skill damage if there's no enemy within 10 meters. Obviously, that's something very important. So if you can keep enemies outside of that range, or 5 meters for tier 3, you're going to be doing a lot of extra damage. So trying to keep those enemies at bay is just one of the best ways you want to play this character, and the biggest reason for it is actually the number one tip, which is to use sniper rifles, right? I know it seems, the whole hero is based around wanting you to use sniper rifles, and I mean, I'll be honest, this hero works really well with like high damage shotguns as well. But the best way, and in my opinion, the most optimal way to use this character is to use snipers. Hell, his 5th upgrade is when using a sniper rifle, there's a 50% chance of triggering a crit, which doesn't do full damage, but it still does 70% of your crit damage, even if you don't hit the weakness. So every other shot, even if you're just popping body shots, is going to crit. Also, not to mention, he has an entire Ascension dedicated to sniper rifles. Eye of the Storm does literally nothing if you're not using a sniper rifle. Another big reason, magical supply. Once Thunderstrike kills the enemy, the ammo consumed is recovered, and your ultimate, your E ability, will automatically launch again. You lower your duration, 2 seconds is the minimum, but it automatically launches again. So you want a weapon doing a ton of damage. That way, when you shoot your shot during your E, it kills, and you get your E back again, and you can just keep repeating the cycle until there's no enemies close enough to hit with your sniper. So using, and obviously it's usually easier to crit, and there's a lot of crit synergies, Lightning from Void, Voltage Surge, Storm Blast is just going to pump your damage even more. So it's like, there are so many good things that pair so well and perfectly with snipers. Not to mention the new bow that came out, which is considered a sniper rifle. It hits like a truck. It has essentially pierce, with the fact that it splits into 3 arrows after it hits a target. You want to be using these things, and when you're using a sniper, it's usually easier to use it if you can keep your enemies at range, so you can use the scope. Obviously, something like a double cal or piercing flame, some of those big bulky snipers, they're not too terrible to hip fire if you are close, but you want to be keeping those enemies at distance. Use your scope, aim in, hit the crit spots. Obviously, it's a pretty obvious thing, but there's, a lot of reasons why it's extremely important to do that. And once again, elite monsters will drop an extra sniper rifle. So elites and bosses are gonna drop you snipers guaranteed every time you kill one. If you're playing on elite or nightmare difficulty, chances are you're gonna find a decent amount of elites. And I mean, there's 2 bosses. The last boss doesn't really count, because if you get a sniper, it's not gonna make a difference. But there's 2 bosses, and you're probably gonna find 4 or 5 other elites, maybe, depending on nightmare or elite difficulty. So you're gonna have a lot of options of different sniper rifles to choose from. Chances are you're gonna find the one you want. So building around a sniper rifle is usually a good idea. Even if you don't get one right away, you're probably gonna see one during your run. So to run that back, breakdown of the new character. Honorable mention, if you find a weapon that has auto crit, please get it and try to get Lightning from the Void. Very fun to do. Will win the run, almost certainly, assuming you can proc the auto crit pretty often. Number 5 tip, E can be an escape mechanism with the movement speed. You can definitely get out quick using that as an escape. Number 4, you don't have a lot of health. You're very squishy, so make sure you're prioritizing your targets correctly and killing the biggest threats first. Number 3, comboing your Q and E is very useful, and you should really, in my opinion, for most runs with this character, wait until your E is pretty low before you shoot your shot. Get the most use out of the skill damage and some of the ascensions that go with it while your E is activated. Number 2, keep your distance from enemies. Stay back a little bit. Just let your sniper rifle do its thing. Your Q can go pretty far. It can bounce, hit a few other enemies. So try to stay just out of their way and just poke them from a distance. And then number 1, you're gonna want to be using the sniper rifle weapon class. Yes, there are other weapons that work. Obviously, auto crit happens on like a rifle of some sort. Obviously, shotguns can do a lot of damage on this hero. Something you might want to experiment eventually, but if you're new to this character, you're just playing it for the first time, or you can't seem to get a good grasp of this character, you're gonna want to be using sniper rifles consistently. So, that being said, those are tips and tricks for the new character. Please tell me how to pronounce his name, because I genuinely do not know. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and have found some of these tips helpful, or at least found them to be good tips. If you have other tips, please leave them in the comments. I am not opposed to obviously helping people out even more in the comment section. So check the comments if you want to see more tips. Hopefully people will leave some down below. But thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. You guys are absolutely amazing. I love each and every one of your faces. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will catch you guys in the next video.